What If Wednesday at 1:30. Brock Cantrell going to come on and talk with us at 1:45 in this hour. Roger Cador Day out there at Baton Rouge Community College, and he wants to talk about what they've got going on over the weekend. So we'll chat with Brock here at the end of hour number one. Pels really good for a while, and then not so good in the second half last night, and then got some fights going. Technicals being issued. We'll talk about the Pels in hour number two. I've got some predictions for Major League Baseball. It's Major League Baseball opening day coming at you tomorrow. Chris Demui in his normal spot at 2:30. Demui will join us to talk some LSU baseball, as he always does on Wednesdays. But we will start with LSU and Grambling last night. Quite frankly, it's a game that shouldn't be played. It doesn't really benefit anyone. The Grambling players get an opportunity to play in a big stadium. That is kind of a nice thing. It should be played, quite frankly. But they did play it last night, and LSU won the ball game 17-5. They out-hit Grambling 16-7. And as I was on the call last night with Chris Blair, I was just kind of discussing a few things that maybe you can draw from this game. And I think one of them is the ability to get your pitchers some work. That was job one for LSU's staff last night. Pitching can be worked on no matter who's hitting. If Mike Trout's in the box, or if Myers Palmer at 15 months of age is in the box, he can stand up. I don't know if he can hold a bat, but he can stand up. Executing pitches is executing pitches. Offensively, what you do is dictated by what pitch is thrown in. When you're a pitcher, you're just throwing. And so you can take some things from what you saw on the mound from LSU last night. They wanted to get Christian Little some work. They wanted to get Blake Muddy, Sam Dutton, Bryce Collins, Micah Buckman. They wanted to get those guys on the mound, and they did. And I thought it was a pretty uneven performance by LSU pitching. Christian Little's line looks pretty good in the first inning. However, one of his strikeouts was on a hanging breaking ball that sat right in the middle of the place, and the Grambling kid swung through it because he's got to worry about a 94-mile-an-hour fastball and is not really prepared to deal with that kind of stuff. So you get away with it, and it looks good in the box score. Was it a good pitch? No. And Christian Little is an emotional guy. He bounces off the mound. He shows a little bit of a swagger and a strut when things are going really well. And when he hung that breaking ball right down the middle of the plate and the Grambling kid swung through it, he didn't really react. He was like, yeah, that wasn't really great. But I did think Christian Little pitched better in the second inning, and a couple of the sliders he threw for strike threes were good. So one of the things that this is just me not using any quotes, not using a single statistic. This is me purely using my eyeballs on Christian Little. When he is able to pitch out of the windup, and he's able to get into that windup and do the high leg kick and fire away, he seems more comfortable. And maybe that's part of the reason he comes into the game in College Station and issues a quick walk out of the stretch with runners on base. Maybe that's a reason he comes into the game against Arkansas, walks the first guy, gives up a 3-run home run, and doesn't quite have it because he's coming into these dirty innings where he's got to work out of the stretch with runners on base immediately. Maybe he's a little bit better in a clean inning where he can start it, and that's where he was last night, and I thought he was okay. Final line score on him, 2 innings pitched, a hit, no runs. He walked 1 and struck out 4. I thought he was okay. Blake Money did give up the big swing. Wes Johnson came out to talk to him, and Cameron Buford was in the box, and Money threw a fastball above the belt, and Buford absolutely annihilated it. If you just watch the highlight, you'll see a high fly ball to left field that lands in the second row. If you were there and you felt the temperature and you felt the breeze and you saw the flags whipping in, the fact that Buford got this ball into the left field seats was really impressive to me. Blake did walk 2 guys in his 2 innings. I didn't think he was great. He had a couple of punch outs, made a couple of good pitches with the breaking ball, but not fantastic. Sam Dutton did have 4 strikeouts. That was good. He did give up 3 hits in 2 innings, which is what it is. They just wanted to get him out there on the mound. Yesterday, if you heard me, wanted to see Bryce Collins pitch in this game because I have not given up on Bryce Collins as a key piece to this bullpen at some point. He's not right now, but at some point. And he did get in there, and he did face a batter, and he did strike that batter out. He threw a pretty good knee-buckling changeup. I think a better hitter probably puts a more competitive swing on that than the Grambling batter who buckled and just didn't swing the bat. But he did throw strikes. He did get a strikeout, and then they went to Micah Buckman. So from a pitching perspective, not awesome from LSU. from a hitting perspective, this is all I can offer you in some sort of super hypothetical, very much forward projecting thought as far as last night's game go. Because you saw the pitchers that Grambling threw out there. Multiple guys could not throw 75 miles per hour that LSU saw last night. And that is not really beneficial to anyone in LSU's lineup at all. But if I'm trying to be hypothetical and think about something that could happen, and this is a real stretch, trust me, I have seen SWAC teams who win their conference tournament show up in Baton Rouge or Lafayette, in the Jackson State case from a couple years ago, and throw a pitcher that LSU would have never seen over the course of a regular season. They're throwing 77-mile-an-hour fastballs and 59-mile-an-hour bloopy curveballs, and LSU's swinging so hard they're corkscrewing themselves into the ground, and it just takes 4 innings before anybody on this number 1 seed for LSU can hit this SWAC junk baller. And at least if that happens this year, if one of the SWAC schools, whether it's Mississippi Valley State or Grambling, who's 5-1, or Southern or Jackson State or whoever it may be, wins the SWAC and gets sent to Baton Rouge for a regional, at least LSU can look back on Friday night against Butler, this game against Grambling, and say, hey, this is what it looks like. This is what you've got to do. And LSU's approach against a guy with basically no stuff was good. In that 5-run third, you saw Dylan Cruz line a line drive into left field, and Tommy White smoked a ball into left field, and Beloso hits an absolute rocket shot into the seats in right field. Jared Jones follows that up with a 1-iron that he sliced over the wall in right field. I mean, just piercing through a chilly wind. It was so impressive to watch. And then Jordan Thompson pumps one into right field for a base hit as well. Nobody trying to do too much. Beloso got one up and in and was able to turn on it. Jones didn't get out in front on his front foot. He let the ball travel and drove it out of the ballpark the other way. Again, it's not that big a deal. Likely, the SWAC champion doesn't come to Baton Rouge, and LSU faces a guy that throws 89 miles an hour in the regional opener, and this was just a bunch of wasted at-bats, which is why I said at the top of the show, the top of the segment, they probably shouldn't even play the game. But there it was. It was great to see Paxton Kling back in the lineup. I don't know what the injury was, but whatever it was, Paxton Kling was in there and got 2 hits and was running like a deer as he can and looks to be completely healthy as they enter the Tennessee weekend. That was good to see. It was really nice to see Alex Milazzo get a start, go 2 for 2, drive in a run, score a run. He's worked really hard on his offense over the last 4 years, and he's not getting a ton of playing time because Brady Neal's kind of nailed that position down. But Alex Milazzo, to this point in the season, is hitting 400 in his opportunities to swing the bat against non-conference teams. And that, to me, is good to see. If we're going to boil this thing down to what it actually is, and it's a game that LSU shouldn't play, it's of really no benefit to LSU in the long run and is non-competitive for the fans who are in attendance, at least I can boil it down and say, hey, Alex Milazzo has worked his butt off, got an opportunity, and smoked a couple balls and got a couple hits. And that's cool to see. The question is, what are you going to do with the position groups at designated hitter, first base, left field, and right field? Because you've got Cade Beloso and Trey Morgan and Jared Jones and Paxton Kling and Braden Jobert and Josh Pearson, and you can't play all of them. And entering the season, I would not have even put Cade Beloso in that group. Sure, he can play first base. I'm aware of that. Sure, he can DH. I'm aware of that. He was the opening DH last year. But I would have thought the other guys would have warranted more at-bats than him. But against really good arms from Arkansas and really subpar arms from Grambling, he's hitting. So it does warrant some thought as to how you want to stack this lineup. And it's certainly better to have too many options than not enough options. But there's only so many spots in the lineup. So what does Jay Johnson decide to do with that group, as a lot of them seem to warrant at-bats? And then the last thing, LSU played another very clean defensive game. The one error that LSU made was another pickoff throw from the pitcher. The pitchers have accounted for almost 50% of the errors on this team. And as you look up at the infield defense, Tommy White has not made an error. Jordan Thompson has made one error, a throwing error. At second base, Gavin Dugas does not have an error. He did fail to field a ball on the charge in the game he was taken out of because his eye was bothering him, but it was ruled a base hit. Trey Morgan's got one error. It's really been your pitching staff that's made some errors. Defensively, LSU continues to play really, really good baseball, which is encouraging to see. And that's another thing that has a small bit to do with the teams you play, because if you strike out more guys and they're not able to put the ball in play with sharp contact, it's easier to play defense. But basically, catching the ground ball is catching the ground ball, catching the fly ball is catching the fly ball, making a throw is making a throw. And LSU continues to do that at a high level, so that continues to be encouraging to see. But LSU all over Grambling, another run rule, 17-5 was the final score. And quite frankly, I don't think we'll talk about that game again for maybe ever, because it just wasn't much to see inside Alec Box Stadium. It's a What If Wednesday. If you got what ifs, you can throw them in the Bayou Ford chat on our YouTube stream. Would love to get to those. In the second hour, we're going to got some Pels talk, some Major League Baseball predictions, and Chris Demui is going to talk some college baseball with us. When we come back, Pro Day out at LSU. How'd the guys look? That's next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP on select new 2022 Ford F-150 trucks. $10,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TD to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and 7 have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All right, let's say Join me, Jimmy Ott, for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. Go see my boy Miguel at Modesto. Modesto on Burbank, right by Walk-Ons. It's the Wednesday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Modesto on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is on Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Before we get to some thoughts on LSU's Pro Day, which is ongoing over there on campus, I want to tell you about tomorrow. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening tomorrow. Clearly, it's LSU and Tennessee from the box. Huge game one at 7 p.m. But in terms of the daytime hours, we've got some really exciting stuff going tomorrow. First of all, over at Red Stick Sports, the 42nd annual Sidewalk Sale is going on at Red Stick Sports Thursday, March 30th, which is, of course, tomorrow, through Saturday, April the 1st. It starts at 9 a.m. It's going to go through 6 p.m. every day. They've got some amazing deals over there at Red Stick. All their Adidas and Under Armour workout apparel is going to be 50% off. You got Adidas and Under Armour basketball shoes for $29.95. Look, 25% off all LSU merchandise. That's polos, fleeces, T-shirts, and more. So Sidewalk Sale is going to be going on over at Red Stick Sports from 9 to 6 tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my show from Red Stick Sports. If you want to come on by, say hey, listen to a little bit of the show, and shop for some great discount sporting goods, we're right there at Red Stick Sports. It's on Essen Lane, 5770 Essen Lane in Baton Rouge. So we're excited to be out there. We'll be broadcasting, of course, from 1 to 3, as always, over at Red Stick Sports. Looking forward to that. And as I've been telling you all week, after I finish up my broadcast at 3 o'clock, I'm going to head over to Rally Cap Brewing for 3:30, where I will be from 3:30 to 5:30. It's MLB opening day tomorrow. Cubbies are playing at 1:20. We like that. And we're going to be watching some MLB baseball and drinking some beers over there at Rally Cap. I got a couple on the set right here. This is the first pitch, which also, by the way, is available at the box. I love first pitch. Y'all know me from a beer drinking perspective. I found what I like, and I pretty much only stick to it. Same reason I've basically never been hunting. I have never been hunting. I pretty much stay in my own lane with things. Rally Cap kind of forced me last week to get out of your comfort zone here. Let's drink some of these beers. I loved First Pitch. I thought it was fantastic. That was their original, and Wendy Peppercorn is the other one I've got on set here. This one's a little bit different. It's a golden milk stout. It's got coffee and vanilla, and I enjoyed the taste of it. Do I want to drink 3 of those? Not me personally, but you very well may, and you can with us tomorrow at Rally Cap. That's where we'll be from 3:30 to 5:30. Very, very much looking forward to it. They got all their beers over there on tap. We're going to have some brats cooking up. We're going to have baseball on TV, and we're going to be hanging out previous to me heading to the box for LSU in Tennessee. So big day tomorrow, 1 to 3 broadcast from Red Stick Sports. Then we'll be over at Rally Cap from 3:30 to 5:30, and cannot wait to do it. Tigers over there at Pro Day on the Ponderosa. And to me, the biggest story of Pro Day, and I will give you full disclosure on my feelings on Pro Day. I covered it for 4 or 5 years when I was on the LSU beat. I found it just unbelievably boring unless you think running into Mike Tomlin or Bill Belichick is really, really cool, which you may. I could take that or leave it. I think it's just a bunch of guys running and jumping, and I've already seen them play for 3 years, and I wish them the best in the future, but I don't really need to be there to know if they jumped 41 inches or 38 inches. That's for the pro teams to decide. So it doesn't really get me going, but for some it does. And I fully anticipated that Kayshon Boutte would be a full participant in LSU's Pro Day today because his combine performance was quite frankly disappointing. And in the same way that Jarvis Landry's combine performance was disappointing, Jarvis ran in the high 4.5s, and he came back in pro day and cranked that thing down into the low 4.4s, and I think that was a really good thing for Jarvis. So I expected Kayshawn, who ran in the 4.5s at the Combine, had the lowest vertical of any wide receiver at the Combine, and a very poor broad jump of 9 feet 10 inches. We're talking about a vertical below Anthony Bradford's vertical, if you missed this. Anthony Bradford weighs 335 pounds. So I figured Kayshawn would be out there letting it rip in that setting. And he's not. He's going to do the position-specific drills, probably run some routes, but not going to do the testing. And this is going to make Kayshawn Boutte a very interesting case come draft day. Because what's the cliche we always use with the draft? It just takes one team. And if one team turns on that film from 2020 or the first part of 2021, it is whoa. And then you had the injury, and then you had an injury-plagued third year, and then you had an announcement he was coming back to school, and then you had the announcement following it that he wasn't coming back to school. So now you've got this blend of unbelievable tape, top of the draft tape, and then injury questions, and then a little bit of drama with the exit, and then poor combine numbers. If you're looking at this on a graph, it starts on the left and it spikes, and then it just steadily drops. But the perception doesn't matter of every team in the NFL. It just matters for one team to look at it and go, we need a receiver. There's something in this kid that just hadn't been there for 2 years. We can get it out. And maybe it's that he just isn't the most freakishly athletic wide receiver. He's just good at getting separation, good at after the catch running. Go back and look at Kayshawn's film from the Ole Miss game where he went nuts, from the Florida game where he had a huge game. Go back and look at the play he makes against Georgia in the SEC championship game. He did a lot of his damage just being tough to tackle. And I don't know how much that shows up in a vertical. Ability to, with vision and quickness to break tackles and strength as well. But I'm surprised with a high 4.5 40 and a 29-inch vertical that Kayshawn Boutte did not go out there and do more at Pro Day. He didn't have to, but he didn't. Now, maybe the big winner today thus far has been Jarek Bernard-Converse. I haven't seen official times yet, and we'll see how those things settle, but he jumped 42 inches, which is very good. He's got a big frame, which we already knew, and he had unofficial 40 times of 4.32 and 4.4. So even if they're a little bit off and he ran 4.42, I mean, that'd be a full tenth of a second off from the 4.32. But if it's 4.42, that's still a great time for a 42-inch vertical, a productive career at Oklahoma State, and a nice year at LSU, and good size. I think that Jarek Bernard-Converse did himself some some good today, which is a very, very good thing. I'm curious to see where the numbers shake out with Jere Jenkins, a guy who is a good athlete, but his numbers at the Combine, we're not awesome. I'm curious to see if B.J. Ojulari has a little more explosiveness than we saw. The tape on B.J.'s good, but what do the numbers look like when you get out there? It's the last chance for these guys from a physical perspective to put some film together and put some numbers out there. And then you got an opportunity for some guys that couldn't go to the Combine, your Joe Fouché or your Colby Richardson, to give it a shot. And that's really, a part of this thing that we never really talk about. We talk about Jarvis having to come back and rescue himself from poor Combine numbers. We talk about quarterbacks and how they look because they rarely throw at the Combine. But it's also an opportunity for some of these players who didn't get that invite, but may have some athletic ability because of the profile that LSU gives them. And Bill Belichick's at Pro Day today. I mean, there's some people there to see. I remember Stephon Sullivan having a really good Pro Day as a guy who's a really good athlete but didn't do much at LSU, may not get an invite to the Combine, had a good Senior Bowl, had a good pro day. All of a sudden, Seahawks jumped on him. So the numbers are still trickling out. They're still putting in some work over there at pro day. But I think the story of the day thus far, if we had two, Kayshawn decides not to go out there and go, and then a really nice 40-time and vertical from Jarek Bernard-Converse to go with the tape. So I think that Jarek Bernard-Converse is putting himself in a pretty good position to be a reasonably high draft pick and to try to make an NFL team, which I think he very likely will do. Moving right along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Brock Cantrell going to be with us here in about 20 minutes. Talk a little bit about BRCC honoring Roger Cador this weekend. But when we come back, we do it every single Wednesday. We get some help from the production team over there. We're going to do some what-ifs. I've got a few here that we'll get to, and then there are also some in the Bayou Ford chat we will get to as well. Don't go anywhere. It is a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Jeep Gladiators and $8,000 off new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokees. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Charles Hannigrove. Join us for the Thursday edition of Hanny Time. We're getting you ready for the monster matchup between LSU and Tennessee at Alex Box Stadium and one day closer to the women's Final Four. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. It is a Wednesday edition. That means time for What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, Hunt. I didn't know if you were gonna bring me in on it.
No,
or
you're
if
just in.
Okay, all right.
You're in it.
Okay. Well, what if you got tickets to anywhere for opening day?
Ooh, for tomorrow's opening day. The obvious answer is Wrigley for me. But if I'm going to look at this objectively and consider all the factors, the high in Chicago tomorrow is 44 degrees. And the wind's probably whipping it off the lake. And Corbin Burns is pitching for Milwaukee, and he's probably not going to give up a run because he's awesome and it's 44 degrees outside. So that probably wouldn't be a ton of fun for me. If I'm looking elsewhere inside the world of Major League Baseball and I could get tickets anywhere I wanted to go, Miami does sound nice. You got Max Scherzer pitching for the Mets against Sandy Alcantara, who won the Cy Young last year. So Miami would be a strong consideration for me. And I would also maybe consider Oakland because Ohtani's pitching, and I would like to see him. That stadium's a dump, though. So I think the top two for me are going to be Miami to see that matchup, or what may be the answer here for me if I had any ticket to opening day, send me to Globe Life Field in Arlington, 70 degrees, Aaron Nola, Jacob deGrom, little local flavor. I could deal with a day in Arlington tomorrow, so I will take Phillies Rangers on opening day for tomorrow.
All right, what if Paul Skeens outduels Chase Dollander tomorrow?
That would be really good for LSU, and, he would overtake him, I think, significantly for the awards at the college level. If you're talking about SEC Pitcher of the Year, if you're talking about Golden Spikes potential, if you're talking about National Pitcher of the Year, those are the two guys that are going to come straight to the forefront for everybody with the kid from Wake Forest. And if you outduel him and you win the game, plus the fact that his stats are significantly better right now, you really separate yourself as a guy who would be SEC Pitcher of the Year and up for the other awards. I don't know that necessarily tomorrow is the biggest deal for the major league team that decides to take a pitcher first. It's going to be a factor because I think a lot of teams are going to be there to watch those two guys pitch, but you're not going to boil down an entire organizational decision on 2.5 hours. However, it would be really good for Paul Skeens if he could do that.
All right, this one's a real dilemma. What if you could only have one win on Friday? Baseball versus Tennessee or women's basketball versus Virginia Tech?
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to make this the Citizens Bank poll question of the day. We will do that, and we will get the answers at the end. I'm curious to see what that would be. This is not hard for me, and I apologize to anyone I offend with this take. I'm taking the win against Tennessee with baseball. That's where my heart lies. That's where my eyes will be. That's where my actual body will be at the box when this game is going on. I'm pulling for Kim and the squad against Virginia Tech. I promise you, I really hope they win the game. I got my eyes on LSU and the Vols in the box, and I want that win. I'm trying to get to 20 wins. If you could promise me, and if we were playing what if, you could promise me that LSU was going to win 24 conference games no matter what happened on Friday, then I would let the girls have it because that's all I need. I only need so many SEC wins, but I'm trying to get them right now, so I would take it.
Can I say that that's a terrible take?
I apologize. I'm not saying I'm right, but I can't just sit here and lie.
I'm just kidding. What if you could get tickets to all of next week at the Masters or an invitation to play Augusta later this year?
That's easy. I would play. I would love to go to the Masters for the tournament. I've been on a Wednesday practice round. It was just a delight. and one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think if you're going to go to Augusta for the first time, I would advise a practice round on Wednesday because you just got a little bit more freedom to walk. They got the par 3 competition. You can see a little bit more of the course. When the tournament ramps up, I'm told, I've never been, but I'm told it gets a little bit more rigid and you might kind of be caught in one spot at times. I'd love to go back to the Masters, but I honestly believe this. If you rule out your health or the achievements of your child or great things for your family, if you rule out those type of things in life and you just boil it down to what's one thing you would like to do or one person you would like to meet or one thing you would like to see, if there's one thing personally as an activity or experience that I could have, there's not anything in the world to me that would be as enjoyable as playing Augusta National. I can't think of anything that would go atop that in life experiences for me. So that's an easy one. I will take playing 18 holes at Augusta.
What if Zion didn't get hurt this year?
I think the Pels are in significantly better shape. I know that's obvious to say, and nothing's guaranteed in the NBA, but if he plays 73 games, then they're in the top 5 of the West. You still have the BI injury. You've still got CJ scuffling a little bit around the All-Star break. You still got some issues that would have cropped up as it does with every team throughout the course of a season. But the Pels would be a top 5 team in the West and would be in line to potentially host a series. It wouldn't have to deal with the play-in. And I think vibes would be really, really good. And I think everyone knows that that's the case with the Pelicans. However, there's just no way you can pretend that he's always going to be healthy moving forward once he comes back from this. You just assume, well, probably going to go south again. That's just after sitting through this for 3 years. What other alternative do we have? And that's a sad commentary on things. That's it for the what ifs from Alondra. But we do have some in the. I'm getting absolutely mauled in the chat for my take on the women's basketball team against baseball. Would you like me to sit up here and lie? Is that what you want me to do, or do you want me to give you the actual opinion that I have? My favorite team in the world is LSU baseball. I would sacrifice the Cubs game on Friday for the LSU women, but I can't. LSU Tennessee, I've been looking forward to this for a year. I don't hate the women's basketball team, I promise. You made me take one. I have to do it. Said, what if Hunt could grow facial hair? Would he have a beard or just a mustache? In fact, we don't have to think about that in hypotheticals. I did grow facial hair during COVID when you couldn't do anything or go anywhere, so I couldn't get a haircut, and I just grew out my facial hair for the one time, really probably in my entire life. It looked atrocious. I mean, just awful. And it itched. It was terrible. And I grew in the entire beard with the mustache, and then one night on command, I shaved like a chin strap into it, and then I shaved a goatee into it, and then I left just the mustache. And I have all the pictures of that. It's available. It is a horrendous look. I mean, I'm not going to look really that good no matter what you do here. It's just the situation is what it is. But the facial hair was really, really not a good look for me. So not even a what if there. That's just bad stuff. What if Hunt did the base running game? Could he beat 15 seconds? For those who don't know what that is, that's at the box. They put a base out in shallow center and make a kid run from the foul line, grab it, and come back in 15 seconds. The kid last night almost suffered some significant injuries. He dropped his hat flew off on the way out there. Then he tried to pick it up on the way back. It ended up into kind of a tumble over the baseline with a base with a metal insert in it, him tumbling over the top of it. I think he made it in the 15 seconds, but he also almost punctured a lung. So maybe don't try to pick up the hat after it flies off on the way out. If I had to do it, I like to think I could do it, but the fact of the matter is I'm so out of shape and so overweight and just so pathetic in terms of my physical ability at this point. I don't think it would be in the cards. I can't definitely rule it out, but I don't think it's looking good for me in the base running game over there. Have any more what ifs? What if Twitter was a real place? That's from Bilbo Baggins. Thank goodness it is not. People on Twitter, sad commentary, sad state of affairs there on the Twitter world. Let's see. We got any more what ifs as I scroll through? Zachary Moe says, what if Wednesday, Hunt? What if Chris Blair called you tomorrow and said, I'm retiring. I want you to take over as the voice of the Tigers. That would be a remarkably difficult decision for me. It is certainly hypothetical, and I don't think I'm in any way qualified to have that job because I've called like 11 baseball games in my life, but and no football games and no basketball games. But I would have to give it some serious thought. On the one hand, the thought of that responsibility, 30 plus weekends a year is a lot when you consider what I'm about to go through for the next 20 years with kids. But it would be the honor of my life to be able to do that. I mean, I get so much thrill out of doing the color on the game last night against Grambling where we won by 100 and the game shouldn't have even played. But just to be on the network, something I grew up listening to my entire life, is always just a dream. So I would have to give it some serious thought. But the good news is that we have Chris Blair, and he's not retiring to my knowledge, and so I'm fired up to get to work with him at times and to listen to him because he does an awesome job with our Tigers. Some of these I have no idea what we're talking about, so I don't even want to read them. I think that's just about it on What If Wednesdays. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us in the Bayou Ford chat and for making those happen. We'll do it again 1 week from today. We will take a timeout when we come back. Brock Cantrell telling us about Roger Cador Day out at BRCC. We'll close out hour number 1 next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The tournament is heating up, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now FanDuel is giving new customers a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So go to FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and sign up today to claim your no-sweat first bet. Then you can wager on everything from the money line to point spreads to which team will be cutting down the net. I think it's going to be UConn. You want some positive odds on the other side, you can take somebody else. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your shot at a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/1045ESPN to sign up. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issues, no travel bonus. Method expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you're someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. Celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
So join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers. Matt is back in the host chair. We're recapping LSU Grambling from the box and Pels Warriors from the Bay Area. It's Wednesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let's head out to the Jim's Firearms hotline. Buddy Brock Cantrell on the other side. Brock, how are you, sir?
What's happening, Hunt Palmer?
Not a ton. A lot going on in the sports world here in Baton Rouge. And I know there's a lot going on over at BRCC, where you're, of course, athletic director. And that includes a really, really cool weekend as Delgado comes to town on Saturday. Going to be Roger Cador Day out at BRCC at Pete Goolsbee Field. This is obviously well-deserved and going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Roger's been a friend of mine and for a long, long time, and this is just overdue for him to get his kudos. He's done so much amazing stuff with, so little fanfare, and he doesn't really want the fanfare, but he so deserves it, and I can't be happier to have him out there on Saturday.
Coach Cador is going to throw out the first pitch. He's going to be available out there at Pete Goolsbee Field to sign some autographs. We know what Roger Cador did in the dugout between those Ricky Weeks Southern teams and reaching regionals and winning a regional game, and he was just a legend at elevating SWAC baseball. But he also has meant so much to our community, Brock.
Yeah, and that's what's the most important thing. I mean, and he'll tell you that to this day. I mean, he had lots of accolades that hardware that he puts on his shelf and stuff like that. But I think he really enjoys giving back to the community. He came and talked to our softball team before the semester started, and when I tell you, I sat there and listened to him talk for an hour, and you could have heard a pin drop. Those ladies were mesmerized by his story. He's a gifted, kind human being.
What a blessing to our community to have had two legends on the baseball side of things in Skip Bertman and Roger Cador that have won a bajillion games, but also can just sit there and hold court like very few people I've ever seen in the sports world.
It's amazing. I tease Roger because I say he's omnipresent. Everywhere I go, he shows up. Like he shows up in the suites of the LSU football game. He ain't got a ticket. He just walks in.
I'll tell you this, Brock. I was interning at Channel 9 in 2009 in the summer, and the first day I was there, me and Sharif Ishaq went over to cover Southern in the SWAC championship, in the SWAC tournament. And Roger, I get there. My only experience in college baseball is going to the box and watching LSU. That's all I know. So I go out to Southern, and I see Roger Cador before the conference tournament game his team's about to play in full uniform in the parking lot grilling pork steaks. Like, hey, Sharif, come on over. We're cooking some things up. I'm like, Coach, you got a game in like 45 minutes. And that's the personality you got here.
That's awesome, man. That's how he rolls, man. And that's why there'll never be another Roger Cador. There'll be some good coaches that come through here, but there'll never be another Roger Cador.
So it's game is between Delgado and the Bears on Saturday at 3:00 out at Pete Goolsbee. And look, Delgado's always got a great team, and it should be some high-level baseball as well as a day to celebrate Roger.
It is. It should be fun to watch. Both those teams score a bunch. We hit the ball really well. We run Thomas runs the bases. It's fun to watch him play. We have to generate offense. Because it's hard at this level with pitching because they're playing back-to-back games.
Yeah.
and it's a whole different ball game than you're used to seeing with LSU and stuff. But it's entertaining, fun. The venue's awesome, man. I love the iconic Pete Goolsby Field. It's just it's a cool place to catch a game.
Head on out Saturday on 3 o'clock, Bears and Delgado. It's celebrating the legend Roger Cador, a Hall of Famer. Roger's going to throw out the first pitch, going to sign some autographs. It should be a great day out at the ballpark. Brock Cantrell, AD over at BRCC, good enough to spend some time with us. Thanks, Brock. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, son. Take care, my man.
Sure will. I tell that story all the time, and people don't even believe me because that just seems so far out of the realm. But that's what makes Coach so great, Coach Cador, is that kind of personality and that attitude. And again, I was just, my eyes were about to come out of my head because we had just, I'd been over to the box to see Paul Maneri press conferences and know what the regional looks like. And that team that I was talking about with Roger Cador, they won the SWAC tournament and played LSU in a regional and played great in that regional opener game. They had LSU on the ropes for 6 innings of that game, and that's an LSU team that won the national championship. And I go out there for the SWAC tournament, and Coach Cador is just grilling in the parking lot in full uniform. And Shreve was like, "Oh yeah, it's a little different over here." I was like, "Yep, I'm here for it." And we watched the game, and Southern played great baseball, and it's great that Brock and the crew over there at Baton Rouge Community College are going to take the time to honor a guy who's meant so much to our community and so much to Southern University and to really SWAC baseball as a whole. I'm sitting there watching Grambling last night, and they're struggling to play LSU, which, look, Arkansas struggled to play LSU on Saturday, quite frankly. They got run ruled. It happens. LSU's really, really good. But I'm looking at that team, and I'm going, they're playing good in conference play. They could get to a regional. And most of the time, SWAC teams, when they get to a regional, don't fare so well. Remember, Jackson State famously won the regional opener against ULL back in 2015 when ULL was a national seed. I think, it may have been 2015. That was when ULL came here. It was a different year, but ULL was a really good team. They were a national seed. It was the year that Ole Miss beat them and went to Omaha. So whatever year that was, but Jackson State won. The Rogers teams were scrappy in regionals and well, and certainly had that awesome team that featured Ricky Weeks. It was a 3 seed in a regional, which is amazing stuff for him. So good on BRCC for doing that and for honoring Roger Cador. I want to remind you again about tomorrow. We got a lot going on from my perspective. I'm going to be broadcasting this show from 1 to 3 live from Red Stick Sports. It's their 42nd annual sidewalk sale. You just can't beat these deals. It's going to be tomorrow through Saturday, 9 to 6 p.m. You're talking about all Adidas and Under Armour workout apparel, 50% off. You got basketball shoes from Adidas and Under Armour, $29.95. LSU merchandise, 25% off all of it. Polos, fleeces, T-shirts, all of it. So come on out to Red Stick Sports tomorrow. They're on Essen Lane at 5770 Essen. And do some discount shopping, get some great sporting goods, and come hang out with our show. It's going to be a lot of fun out there at Red Stick tomorrow. And when I leave Red Stick Sports tomorrow at 3 o'clock when it's over, I'm headed to Rally Cap. We're going to do an opening day celebration out there at Rally Cap on Segan. I got these beers here on set. Here's the Rally Cap first pitch. It's their pale ale. It is awesome. I'm going to have multiple pale ales tomorrow between 3:30 and 5:30, and then I'm going to head to the box. But we'll be watching Major League Baseball out at Rally Cap. They're going to be cooking up some brats. We want listeners to come out, hang out. We'll be hanging out there. I'll be talking baseball with whoever. You want to talk about the Cubs dominating the Brewers tomorrow? I'm here to talk about it. You want to talk about LSU about to dominate Tennessee? I'll be here to talk about it over at Rally Cap from 3:30 to 5:30. If you're looking for something to do before the LSU-Tennessee game tomorrow or just want to come watch some opening day baseball, highly, highly recommend coming out to Rally Cap tomorrow for that between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. If you missed any of the first hour, you can catch it on demand. What If Wednesday, LSU Pro Day news, as well as LSU and Grambling reaction from last night. Fast forward to hour number 2. I got some Major League Baseball predictions coming up a little bit later in hour number 2. Chris Demui talking LSU baseball at 2:30 in his normal slot. And we come back after SportsCenter. What exactly went on between the Pelicans and Warriors last night? I've got my thoughts. That's after SportsCenter. You're listening to the Capital City's leader in sports talk. It's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One of the NBA's biggest stars makes his return to the court tonight. Power forward Kevin Durant back after missing the last 10 games with a left ankle sprain. He'll make his son's home debut versus the Timberwolves. With Minnesota just a game and a half back of fourth-place Phoenix in the West, this is a pivotal matchup for both teams, explains ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
The Wolves have won 5 in a row. They're on the heels of the Suns for seeding. This is a big game. This isn't just about KD getting in. They need to win. KD knows it. That's why he's coming back for this game. So I'm expecting a great game on ESPN, I might add.
Brian Windhorst on First Take, coverage of the T-Wolves and Suns, 10 Eastern on ESPN TV. Minnesota's Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards both listed as probable. After sitting out last night's game with a thigh issue, Grizzlies point guard John Morant expected back tonight against the Clippers. ESPN's Pete Thamels reporting VCU's Mike Rhodes has agreed to become the next men's basketball coach at Penn State. From ESPN's Jeff Borzello, Utah Valley's Mark Madsen, the former Stanford star and NBA veteran, will be Cal's next head coach.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2 on a Wednesday. Half the work week in the rear view mirror. Hope it's been a good one. Start working towards the weekend here. Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. Chris Demui, 30 minutes from now, talking to LSU baseball. A little SEC flavor as well. I want to start this hour talking about the Pelicans and Warriors. And not necessarily specifically about the final result last night, which was 120-109. The Pelicans had a 20-point lead. The Warriors came out swinging in the third quarter and just ambushed New Orleans in the second half. Outscored the Pels 74-46 to win it. That is what it is. And that happens. Golden State's really good at home, and the Pels haven't beaten good teams away from home. And the result was always likely going to be that the Warriors are going to win that game. That's not what I'm as concerned with talking about today. I have some pretty good self-awareness, and I know what I am good at and what I'm not very good at. And I know how my brain is wired, what I understand and what I don't understand. And there are like 743 reasons why I was not a successful Division I nor professional athlete. One of which is I had very little natural ability when compared to elite D1 and NBA and MLB athletes. Number 2 is I don't have that killer instinct or edge at all. I have no edge. I don't know anyone in the world who has less edge than me. I'm generally in a good mood. I generally like people. You're not going to catch me on many bad days. And I'm certainly not going to do it for show. And this appears to be Draymond Green's entire persona. And I know right now that those of you who are listening who are not fans of the Golden State Warriors are going to say, I hate Draymond Green. I got a lot of friends of mine that are Pelicans fans just going nuts yesterday about how much they hate Draymond Green. And I'm sure they do. Because he causes a ruckus and he's playing against your team and his team's pretty good and I'm sure you hate him. But those of you who are New Orleans fans who hate Draymond Green because of the way he acts and like C.D. Deuce or C.J. Carter-Johnson because of the way he acted when he was a Saint, well, then there you see where it all lies. It depends on what lens you're looking at this from. If the guy's on the other team, you hate him. If he's on your team, you love him. I struggled to come up with an LSU player in any of the sports that behaved any way close to the way that Draymond Green or C.D. Deuce do. And I didn't do a very good job of coming up with one, quite frankly. I don't know of anybody that was that flashy or agitating or in the Pat Bev, Draymond Green realm of playing. I just don't get it. I don't understand this notion that the game ends, and Steve Kerr loved it. He said, yeah, we needed his fire. We needed him to yell at us because we weren't doing very well. And Draymond Green said it was perfect, right? Perfectly executed, he says with a smile. And I just don't understand. And this is a me thing because I know where I come from. I don't understand why the Golden State Warriors, with a week and a half left to go in the season, who are locked up in a log jam in the Western Conference, need a guy to throw a shoulder at somebody, to kick somebody in the head, and to start yelling at other people, to start making jump shots. Like, what? I don't understand this mental aspect of this ballgame. I don't. Why doesn't Steph splashing threes from all over the court fire you up? How about that one-handed whip-around pass he flipped out from behind the goal to Klay Thompson? Why doesn't that fire? Why do you need a player to act like a fourth grader to get your team ready to play? Clearly they need it. Clearly it works. They've been doing this for years. It's not new. I'm not suggesting they just came up with this or that I'm just learning about it. I know all that. I don't understand. The whole double technical thing made almost no sense to me. You got a little bump for a foul, and then BI's walk in, and then Draymond bumps him, and then they start jawing over absolutely nothing. And this is the spark that the dynasty that is the Warriors need? For what? And the weird thing about this is that if you, and people have asked Draymond on podcasts, on the record, last night, what he thinks about the way he handles himself on the court, which to me seems like what an immature 15-year-old would do in a JV game if his girlfriend just dumped him. He would tell you it's exactly the right way to play. And I need to get 16, 18 technicals a year and get suspended and get ejected. Because that's one, going to keep the team I'm playing from focusing and making their shots and going to get my team locked in. And he would tell you that. And then he could go to the records and show you his technical fouls and show you how much jewelry he has at home and show you what that team has done. And you would have a hard time telling him that he was an idiot. I could come back and go, yeah, you know, you do have two of the greatest three-point shooters who ever lived on the team. You did have Kevin Durant at one point, maybe the greatest scorer who ever lived. So that did certainly play a part in it. If Draymond Green, and keep in mind, self-aware, to go back to it, I laugh things off and I don't take much too seriously, and I am who I am, and it's part of the reason you can't excel in sports being like that. But if Draymond Green did what he did to Brandon Ingram last night, to me on the court, I would laugh in his face. I would laugh in his face. I would go, you think you're just going to start ripping profanities off at me and getting in my face, and it's going to cause me to get so ticked off I can't play basketball, then you're a clown. Like, that's not... But clearly it works. Clearly. Because he's been doing it for over a decade. And last night, I don't know how much under the skin of the Pelicans he got. Herb didn't seem too put off by it. There's a great clip on Twitter of Draymond chirping at Herb, who's just standing there. And then finally Herb looks at Draymond and goes, your coach is taking you out. And then Draymond runs off and yells at the bench about something. So, I don't know. But it's puzzling to me. New Orleans was not supposed to win that game last night. But then you look up and they're up 20 and you think, well, this would be really something. To win your sixth in a row on the road in that place would maybe signify that they've kind of found something. And in the end, I would argue, not because Draymond acted like a high schooler, it probably had a little bit more to do in the end with the fact that Steph Curry went absolutely bananas, as he does, and Klay Thompson went kind of bananas, which he does, and they combined to shoot 50% from three, which they do. And the Pels had trouble slowing them down in the second half. 39 in the third quarter, 35 in the fourth. That's 74 points. Win a lot of games like that. If New Orleans had blown a gasket because of Draymond, gotten two technical fouls, kicked the ball in the stands, and ripped their jersey off going to the locker room, I go, man, that Draymond guy really got him. They just couldn't handle it. When Golden State just starts splashing threes at a level which no other team in the history of basketball besides them could do, it kind of makes me think, they really believe they need Draymond to do this to get going? I'm looking up at the television and they're showing Draymond getting in this scuffle. It just looks dumb to me. From the outside, I want the Pels to win. I want the Pelicans to do well. It's good for our business. It's good for my friends. It's good for our state. And I don't care about any other team, so I hope they do well. But I didn't even watch the fourth quarter last night. I went to sleep. I woke up to the end of this. So for me, there's no real emotional pull into this commentary. But when I watch Draymond Green act like that, it looks dumb to me. And then you turn around on its head, and they all say it works great at Golden State. So there's just a disconnect between what I believe, what I see, and what the Warriors believe. And God bless them, they win a lot of basketball games with that going on. And that's what happened last night to the Pels, who will now set their sights on Denver and try to steal one there before they come right on back home. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Chris Demui in 15 minutes talking all the SEC baseball coming up this weekend, as well as a big-time preview of LSU and Tennessee. Can't wait to get into that with the former Tiger Southpaw. But when we come back, I've got some thoughts and some predictions, maybe help you out gambling a little bit if you want to play some future bets on Major League Baseball, which cranks up tomorrow. We'll be out at Rally Cat, by the way. Come back with us on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is on Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text TB to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Join me, Jimmy Ott, for the Wednesday edition of Game Time. Go see my boy Miguel at Modesto. Modesto on Burbank, right by Walk-Ons. It's the Wednesday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Modesto on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, we're going to take, this could be like an entire hour if I was like a baseball podcast, but I'm not. So we're going to turn like an hour of content into like 8 minutes. How does that sound? We can just crunch this entire thing down into 8 minutes, and then we'll get to Chris Demui talking some LSU baseball here at the bottom of hour number 2. MLB opening day is tomorrow. I am so excited. We'll be out at Rally Cap tomorrow from 3:30 to 5:30. Got my Rally Cap beers right here on set. Here's the first pitch. That's what I'll be knocking down tomorrow. Interesting one here, the Windy Peppercorn they gave us. I love the name, and the beer tastes good. Rally Cap's the first pitch is gonna be the one for me. I'm gonna have 2 or 3, and that's where we're headed tomorrow. Rally Cap. So come out and see us from 3:30 to 5:30. We'll be watching Major League Baseball, cooking some brats, drinking some delicious beers, and I'll be watching the end of the Cubs game as they crank up at 1:20 from frosty Wrigley Field. Cubs may not score tomorrow. Corbin Burns, very good. Wrigley Field in March, not a fun place to hit, but I can't wait to see it, and it just becomes a part of my daily routine. Now the Cubs are on almost every day, and that is very, very exciting for me as a Major League Baseball fan, but I know that not all of you are huge Major League Baseball fans, so we're not going to spend a ton of time going through everything in Major League Baseball here. What we are going to do is go through all my predictions for Major League Baseball very, very quickly. So let's get into it. We'll start in the American League. In the East, Boston is going to be terrible. That is not going to be a good baseball team. Musso, through that wall, is about 15 feet from me, I would say. I don't think he can hear me right now. If he can, his team's going to stink. Mine's not going to be very good either, but they're not going to be able to contest with the Yankees. I think the Blue Jays are going to be pretty good. You never know what's going on down in Tampa, but I'm going to take the Yankees. Judge, pretty good. Stanton, pretty good. LeMahieu, pretty good. Rizzo, pretty good. Glaber, pretty good. Still got Garrett Cole, Nestor. The rotation needs to get healthy. Give me the Yankees in the East. In the Central, I actually like the White Sox. They were so positioned over the last couple of years from that rebuild. They just haven't cashed in. They've still got a ton of talent in the lineup. Moncada, Robert. They've got dudes. Tim Anderson can still swing the bat. And they've got a really good rotation fronted by Dylan Cease and Giolito and the crew. So I like the White Sox in the Central. The Guardians will be what challenges them. I don't love the Twins, and I think the Tigers are going to be awful again. But I like the White Sox in the Central. I like in the West, my one kind of bold prediction here, I'll take the Mariners. J-Rod's a year older. Rotation is not awesome. Castillo's not a great ace here. He's going to go on opening day. But the Stros do lose Verlander. Texas spent a bunch of money. They got DeGrom. They got Seager. Like that. I know what they're doing over there too. But I'll take the Mariners as the surprise team out west. In the East, in the NL, I like the Mets. I know they lose DeGrom, but they had Verlander. And they got a really good lineup. They got guys that can really swing the bat. Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Jeff McNeil, Nimmo when he comes back, Tommy Pham. They did lose Edwin Diaz, and they need to get that short up at closer, but that's the easiest thing to find at the trade deadline as a closer to come in and nail things down. So give me the Mets out east. In the Central, I'm going to vomit as I give you this take. I'll take the Cardinals. I just think the Brewers are in total disarray with their organization, and I think the Pirates and Reds don't even try to win. So basically that narrows it down to the Cardinals because I don't think the Cubs are ready. So I'll take the Cardinals in the Central. Padres out west. I think that they are ready to overtake the Dodgers. I just love the fact that they've spent a ton of money. I love the fact that they're trying to win. They haven't gotten over the hump to deal with the Dodgers. In fact, the Giants did 2 years ago, and the Padres have not yet. But I'll take the Padres to win out west. My NL MVP, Ronald Acuna from the Braves. Has not been really healthy the last couple of years, but at 21, Ronald Acuna led the National League in stolen bases, and he hit 41 home runs. If he can get healthy and regain that form, he's an MVP-type player. So I will take Ronald Acuna in the NL. In the AL, it's really hard not to take Ohtani, but I'm going to take Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners, J-Rod. He was the Rookie of the Year last year at 21 years old, and he can certainly get better. And the hope, if you're a Seattle fan and you're someone picking the Mariners to win the division, he does get better. But you're talking about a 21-year-old last year who hit 28 home runs, hit 284, was the Rookie of the Year. I'll take J-Rod as my potential AL MVP. So in the NL with a Cy Young, Corbin Burns is probably going to be most people's pick. However, I would offer his teammate, Brandon Woodruff, who probably doesn't get as much attention as Corbin Burns does, but is really good. If the Brewers are going to do anything, it's going to be those two guys that carry them to it. And I think Woodruff can be that guy. If he makes the 3 extra starts that he missed last year because of injury, then he strikes well over 200 guys out. He's been a 200 strikeout guy before in his career, and I think he can be that again this year. It's just a wild card pick if you're looking for something kind of off the beaten path. Woodruff may be your guy. For the AL Cy Young, I'll take Dylan Cease. This is kind of a salty pick on my part because the Cubs traded Dylan Cease away for Jose Quintana, who was very mediocre for the Cubs. And now Dylan Cease has entered his mid-20s, entered his prime. He is a strikeout machine. If he stops walking people, which is easier said than done, he's going to be among the best pitchers in all of baseball. I will bet on that and I will bet him kind of against longer odds to be the AL Cy Young. So in the NL, Brandon Woodruff. In the AL, Dylan Cease. For the pennants, I've got the Yankees winning the American League. I've got the Mets winning the National League, which was set up a little Subway Series 22 years later. And I think that would be really, really fun. My World Series champ this year is the New York Mets. Yeah, no more DeGrom. Yeah, that entire nucleus of pitchers that they brought up with DeGrom and Syndergaard and Harvey and what made them so great in 2015 is all gone, but the bats are not. Lindor is fantastic at shortstop. Alonso can hit 50 home runs. Jeff McNeil has blossomed into a really good player, a really high average hitter and a good athlete. Brandon Nimmo, big free agent signing that they kept him in. He got hurt in the World Baseball Classic, but he's going to come back. They added Tommy Pham, who's plagued me in the NL Central in St. Louis and Milwaukee. I like him. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Edwin Diaz because he's out for the year. How do you find a closer? But they're going to move some things around. And look, if a team's good midway through the year, you just go throw a couple of AA prospects at a losing team, grab their closer, insert them in, and it works great. And you'll be able to figure that out for the postseason. So those are my MLB picks. In the American League, in the East, Yankees, Central, White Sox, West, Mariners. In the NL, the Mets, the Cardinals, and Padres. My MVPs, Ronald Acuna in the NL, Julio Rodriguez in the AL. My Cy Youngs, Brandon Woodruff in the NL, and Dylan Cease in the AL. In the pennant, I got the Yankees and the Mets winning their respective leagues. And the World Series champs, the New York Metropolitans. A little off the wall with a lot of that. No Tony, no Tawny, no Trout. Not going with the Dodgers as usual. I mean, the Yankees are in there, which everybody thinks are always going to be pretty good. But those are my picks. I'm sincerely hopeful that your Chicago Cubs are phenomenal this year. I have my doubts. Starting rotation, probably 2 or 3 pieces short. Definitely 2 bats short. But I can't wait to lock in. I'll be out at Red Stick Sports tomorrow doing my show, and you'll see me locked in on LSU and Tennessee as far as content goes. I'll be giving the breakdowns, what I expect to see from all that. But on the screen, we'll have Cubs and Brewers on. And it's funny in Chicago, they always just love opening day so much. It's one of the best days of the year in Chicago, and they always talk about spring. Spring is sprung. It's here, and it's 38 degrees most of the time. Tomorrow, the high is 44. There will be no ivy on the walls at Wrigley, but there will be plenty of cold pops flowing in Wrigleyville and plenty of smiles on people's faces as baseball is back, Major League style, starting tomorrow, and we'll be at Rally Cap to celebrate it from 3:30 to 5:30. So much SEC baseball to talk about coming up. So much SEC baseball to talk about from last weekend. And certainly we'll preview LSU and the Tennessee Volunteers. Chris Demui, former Tiger left-hander, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches baseball podcast. He's going to jump aboard here in about 3 minutes to talk about all of that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com is the website. For some people right now is not the best time to move, but you still want to improve your living situation. If it's not feasible for you to move right now, what about your dream bathroom? What about a customized, fully renovated closet? One Bath and Closets needs to be your stop. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. We know y'all are doing that. We've seen the hits go up and up and up on the website. Check out those testimonials. Check out the pictures of the work David Duvall and his team have done, and schedule a free consultation. It doesn't cost you anything to have David Duvall and his team come in understand what your situation is, understand what you need, and allow them to do it. Maybe it's a full-scale renovation. They're a licensed contractor. They can knock out your current closet. They can rip out your bathroom, expand it. They can do all that. Or maybe you just need to use the space you have a little bit more efficiently. Maybe a tub-to-shower conversion is all you need in your bathroom to turn that just tub that you don't really use into a gorgeous walk-in shower. Let David Duvall and his team help you out in your home. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them. Because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a
Charles Hanniger. Join us for the Thursday edition of Hanny Time. We're getting you ready for the monster matchup between LSU and Tennessee at Alex Box Stadium and one day closer to the women's Final Four. Hanny Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Leah Vann was out at LSU media availability at Alex Box Stadium today. She has a quote from Paul Skeens on her Twitter profile. It says, "You can't deny we've been looking forward to this weekend, but we know what we have to do preparing this whole week and controlling what we can control." We've all been looking forward to this weekend, Paul, and I'll control what I can control. I'll do a radio show, and then I'll go to Rally Cap and drink some pops and head on into the box and watch you pitch. And I know another guy that's going to be locked in tomorrow to LSU in Tennessee. That is Chris Demui, former Tiger Southpaw, national champion and host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches baseball podcast. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Demui, how are you?
Good, hon. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing very well. Let's go back to Arkansas before we head forward to Tennessee. What did you make of LSU struggling offensively against Hunter Holland and against Hagen Smith?
Not surprised. Take the left-handed pitching argument out of it. Those are two of the best pitchers in the SEC. And Hagen Smith is a stud. You know, he dominated LSU for 7 innings last year as a freshman. And I had a feeling when he would come in the game, I was there, that it was going to be really tough for the Tigers to get something going. And they get the 2-run home run by Cruz late. But Hagen Smith's done what he's done all year. He's got like a 1.1 ERA, and that guy's going to be a stud and probably a future major leaguer. So I thought Holland, I knew he was going to be good. I just didn't know he would last that long and be good for that long. I thought LSU may be able to scratch a couple against him. But, I mean, those guys are really good, really, really good.
Skeens was good again. A&M's got a pretty good lineup, and Arkansas's got a good lineup, and Skeens has kind of dominated them for 2 outings. Do we figure that should be the script every week?
I don't know about that. I think the nature of baseball, it's going to be tough. You know, we were talking about, actually, when I released my preview podcast this morning, I had a Tennessee fan on there, and he was breaking them down. He said, "What happens, Chris, when Skeens gets hit?" And I said, I didn't say I'll believe it when I see it, but, you know, he's going to give up something eventually. You hope it's not this weekend or next weekend when they go to South Carolina. You don't want to see it ever. But it's just tough to imagine the guy has a sub-1 ERA all year. You know, you think at some point he gives up 3 or 4 runs in 4 innings, and everybody's shocked. But, you know, everybody gets hit at some point. But until then, I'll just wait to, you know, when I see it, I'll believe it, you know.
Do you believe Garrett Edwards has kind of risen to the top of the food chain in the bullpen?
No doubt, 100%. To me, he's kind of the unsung hero of the pitching staff, really. When you look at the totality of the pitching staff, bullpen and starters, he's been a rock down there, and I think they're going to continue to lean on him this weekend and really for the entirety of the SEC. And I think the good thing about Edwards is that he can extend. You know, he just can't go one time through the order. He's only good for 2 or 3 batters. You know, when he can go 3 to 4 innings, that's massive, and just kind of wipe out a whole game for you. And then we saw in Arkansas, right, he gets the 2 strikeouts, he goes and gets treatment, and then he turns around and comes back and deals in game 2 on Saturday. So I think he's been massive.
Who should be playing first base most of the time?
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, if you're going to say most of the time, I think it should be Trey Morgan. But the way I think they nicknamed him, the Creole Bambino, the way Kay Beloso was just kind of hopped up off the bench and said, "Look, I can swing it too." I mean, hats off to him. I love to see it. You know, he's kind of – I had the same feeling for Beloso as I do Dugas. You know, Louisiana kids just fighting through some hardships, and I love to see them having success. But I think that first base spot, you just kind of go with the hot hand. And if Joe Bear's kind of struggling, obviously Pearson and Morgan make a lot of sense in the outfield. And if Paxton Kling's struggling or dealing with a little bit of injury, I have no problem putting Beloso out there. You probably lose a little bit defensively, obviously, with Morgan being so good. But that's fine with me to put Cade out there.
Ty Floyd, tough first inning. Leadoff guy rips one down to first. Beloso lets it score it away, and then he gives up the big home run, and then he hits a couple of guys. But then after that, kind of settled in. Do you feel a little bit better about Ty Floyd today than maybe you did entering last weekend?
Yeah, I think he showed me a lot, and he should have showed really the LSU fan base, anybody that doubts Ty Floyd, just kind of really what he's made of. And I think the thing that gets overlooked, and you just brought it up, but the fact that he had already given up 2 runs, right? Then he hits the 2 guys like you talked about, but then he gets back-to-back strikeouts. To me, that was massive, and that just kind of showed his grit. That could have easily been a 4-run top of the first for Arkansas, and then you're like, oh, no, we're in a little bit of trouble here, just to be down that deficit early. But the fact that he gutted it out, I think he was in the mid-70s in terms of his pitch count at the end of the 3rd inning, and I'm like, man, I don't know what they're going to do. But he just got on a roll in 4, 5, 6. He just got it going in really quick innings. His pitch count got right back in line where you want it to be. And to me, the fact that he just kept throwing up zeros when it could have gotten so wrong early in the game for him just showed me just kind of his mental fortitude and what kind of a kid and what kind of makeup that he has.
What's the difference in Thatcher Hurd against Texas and against Butler as opposed to the guy that we saw against A&M and then Arkansas?
Yeah, I mean, I remember me and you, we talked about this last week, and I think we even texted about it some. I think he's just missing some type of a secondary pitch right now for a strike. You know, against A&M, it felt like he threw a ton of changeups, didn't have a feel for a fastball or slider. And, you know, from what I remember about this past weekend, it didn't really seemed like he had a feel for a slider, or he was just missing or just off. And when I took a look at his numbers, the biggest thing to me is his walks. You know, he's got more walks at this point this year than he had last year, really in the totality of what he threw last year before he got hurt. So, and it seems like when he gets the 2 strikes, maybe he's nitpicking a little bit, or he's just missing. You know, it's not like he's throwing balls to the backstop. You know, he's a little high, he's a little out, he's a little in, he's a little down. And I just feel like if he has really that slider, if he has that slider for a strike, then he can work in the fastball and the changeup. But I feel like when he doesn't have that slider, then his outings kind of change just a little bit.
Are you at all interested in looking at another option in the weekend rotation? Or are you riding with these 3 guys?
Man, that's a great question. I'd say I'm definitely riding with these 3 right now. And then, you know, one of the guys that started out in the rotation may peek his head in there again with Chase Shores. I've been super impressed by him. I've not cringed, but I've just questioned him coming out of the bullpen, not because he's not good enough, but just because he's a freshman and he showed a lot of inconsistency with his fastball earlier in the year. When you come out of the pen, you got to have something for a strike, and it seems like he's fixed that. You know, he's pounding the zone, he's coming in tough situations, he's kind of growing up right in front of us. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hurd has maybe another inconsistent outing on Sunday. If you see Shores maybe become an option on that Sunday spot as he was to start the year.
He's Chris Demui, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU Baseball Podcast. Joins us every Wednesday here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Before we get to LSU and Tennessee, we'll do that last. Let's talk about some other teams in the SEC. I think just a monster series in College Station this weekend between the Aggies and the Rebels. You're talking about the 1-5 Aggies and the 0-6 Rebels. Who needs it worse?
Ole Miss. I think I would have to go Ole Miss just because of all the preseason hype. Top 5. I didn't think they'd be able to hit as well as they could, but obviously the problem seems like it's their pitching staff, and really the bottom of the order is one of the guys I had on the podcast last night. He talked about Ole Miss struggling in the bottom of the order and defending national champs, and the fact that they're 0-6 and got swept at home against Florida. It's a bad look right now going on at Ole Miss. So I think the Rebels need a victory.
How impressed were you by Florida going into Oxford and just kind of dominating?
Yeah, I just didn't see that happening. I thought Ole Miss would just – I'm not saying they don't have pride. I just thought they may turn it around at home with that crowd and after getting humbled on the road at Vanderbilt. So I thought Ole Miss would take 2. Florida, you know, hitting travels, and those guys can swing it, and we know about their pitching staff, and I know you've questioned their bullpen, and I haven't dug into them a ton. I just kept trying to catch up after looking at LSU, but obviously they have the starters to match up with anybody in the conference. So what Caglioni's doing at first base is truly remarkable with the way he's swinging it. So, and that surprised me too. I did not think they were going to be able to hit as well as they had at all. That's been a shock to me.
And they're doing that without Wyatt Langford for the most part, so it's
exactly.
It can get better. It can get a guy's going to potentially top 5 pick in the draft, so it's going to be a wild one. Last one before we get to LSU and Tennessee. You want to give me some thoughts on what the heck is going on in Starkville, Mississippi for a year and a half now?
It's ugly. It's you know, they can hit, they can swing it, but man, they just can't. They can't pitch at all, and I don't really know what's going on. I know last year there's a ton of injuries, right? They lost Landon Sims, maybe the first weekend of the year, he was going to be their he was going to be their ace. And I know they had Cade Smith, their lefty, was penciled as a Friday guy. They had a big time Memphis transfer. Was going to be the weekend starter for them. But when you look at their scores, I mean, when Vanderbilt puts up more runs than their football team puts up points, that's a problem. And I don't think Vandy, and this is going to sound bad, but I don't think Vandy's a great hitting team. Now, obviously, they're really putting it on people right now. I still don't know if I'm sold on them, but when they put up 26 against, a team that won the national championship 2 years ago, that's a problem. And that's when you talk about the kind of the godfather teams of the SEC, it's LSU and it's Mississippi State. Don't let people get it twisted. Mississippi State has a ton of history and a ton of pride, and that's shocking.
It is, and it's one thing for a 26-run game, just get out of hand, you throw some freshmen in there, you get lit up, whatever. Then you come back and give up double-digit runs again. It's just they can't get anybody out here. All right, it's just a monster weekend coming up the box starting tomorrow with a 7 o'clock first pitch between LSU and Tennessee. It's going to be a super regional-like atmosphere. There's going to be scouts galore. There's going to be Tiger fans jammed in every seat they can find. What's the biggest key for LSU this weekend?
Well, I was kind of looking at some numbers before you gave me a call, and I think the biggest thing, obviously, it's Tennessee's pitching staff. You know, those three guys are absolute studs. When you talk about Dolander, you know, Burns and Beam, all three of them are going to run the ball up to the low to mid 90s. All have secondary stuff. They were amazing last year. But if you're going to get to them, the stats really show that you need to get to them in the first couple of innings before they get settled down. You know, all three of them have you know, higher ERAs than they do overall in the first couple of innings. And I think the other thing too is, I would say LSU, I just have a feeling LSU is going to have to win 1 or 2 games late, meaning like in the 8th or the 9th, some of the Alec Box magic comes alive, because I think the pitching staffs are going to dominate this weekend. And we haven't seen really anybody hold the LSU lineup down for an extended period of time, but let's be honest, this is the best staff they'll probably face all year. And for how surprised people are of Tennessee being 3-3, they're still top 2 or 3 statistically pitching staff in the country. You know, they still have ungodly numbers. So it's going to be a dogfight. And I just think they got to try to jump on them early and just like, let's hold them off. And Tennessee has a very deep bullpen, something Arkansas did not have. So it's going to be tough. Another heavyweight battle, you know.
I don't know how Skip would handle this, and I don't actually know how Paul Maneri would handle this, and I don't know how Jay Johnson will handle this, but Tennessee's got a bit of a persona. They've got a bit of an edge that comes from their head coach, and they're the bad boys of college baseball, and they've played on pretty big stages, and a lot of LSU's guys haven't seen that as much. What would you tell your team if you're LSU about playing this weekend in front of 12,000 fans a night against a team that kind of thrives on being hated and trash talking and that kind of edge to a team?
Man, that's a really good point, and it's funny. I mentioned that as something on the preview podcast, which I released today, as one of my keys to the weekend. You know, I think you brought up a fabulous point where this team is still learning how to win in big games, right? In terms of getting past super regionals, getting to Omaha, all these different types of things, having the pressure of being a number 1 team on their back. And I think the biggest thing for them is to focus on their dugout, focus on their teammates, direct any emotion towards the LSU side of things, because I think Tennessee thrives on that. They want you to focus on them. They want, you know, when Tony Vitello comes out there and he's going to go nuts and go berserk and the fans are going to get up and they get riled up. Tennessee feeds off that. They kind of like that, right? The bad boys of the SEC in a sense. And they're going to put on the fur coat if they hit a home run. They're going to do all their shenanigans. And to me, LSU just needs to focus on their dugout. They're going to talk smack, talk about it with their guys. I would not give them any fuel to the fire, because make no mistake, Tennessee, they can't wait to get in here and have people getting on them, and they're going to be fired up, and they're going to have a ton of emotion. And they're going to let the fans have it. But I think if you're LSU, the best thing you could do is let those guys hang out in the third base dugout and don't care what they're doing over there at all.
How do you think it goes this weekend?
Look, I wanted to make it fun. I want to make it interesting, and sometimes, Hunt, you got to go out on a limb. But I predict a sweep. I know that's crazy. But listen, me and you talk all the time. If you say to Demui, will you take 2 out of 3 right now on this kind of rainy Wednesday? I will say, give it to me.
Yeah.
I will take 2 out of 3 right now. But I don't know. I felt good going out the box this weekend. I felt good on Monday when I thought about this matchup, and it's going to be tough. There's no doubt it's going to be tough, and it's going to be awesome to see. I don't know. Maybe I got a feeling something about the fans and Alec Box and being at home, and it may be one of those special weekends where everything just kind of goes right and it clicks. It'll be a fun one, but I got a sweep. I'm gonna put it out there. If it goes bad, you can blame it on me, but that's what I got.
I just might. Demui, thanks so much, man. Enjoy the baseball this weekend.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
He's Chris Demui, 60 feet 6 inches LSU baseball podcast, former Tiger left-hander, played in a lot of really big games. There are 3 coming up this weekend: 7:00 Thursday, 6:00 Friday, and 1:00 on Saturday. We'll get you ready for them, of course, tomorrow from Red Stick Sports. We'll come back and close things out. It is a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. It's been our pleasure all March long to tell you about Trey Godfrey. Trey has dedicated his career to bettering Baton Rouge. He's the Senior VP of Policy for the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, and there he oversees education policy. It's such an important aspect of what Trey Godfrey does, is to help make sure that the young people in our state are getting an education. And he believes that that's making an impact from a systemic perspective, and it certainly is. That's what makes Trey a champion of Louisiana. If you know someone like Trey, if you know a nonprofit or a company that's doing great philanthropic work in our state, we want to tell their story. LWCC gives us that opportunity. So go to lwcc.com/loyal, lwcc.com/loyal, and nominate someone, some business, some nonprofit to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can use this platform to tell our state about them. Trey Godfrey is March's champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes
Musso, join us for Wednesday's AFR presented by Pluckers. Matt is back in the host chair. We're recapping LSU Grambling from the box and Pels Warriors from the Bay Area. It's Wednesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, closing up shop on a Wednesday here. Hope your hump day's going well. Got to play some Take It or Leave It. Mr. Beck.
All right, getting started here. LSU running back signee Caleb Jackson ran the 100 meters last week in 10.7 seconds. He is listed on the roster as 5'11", 222. Jackson will be a big piece of the LSU offense this fall. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it as a big piece. I wouldn't rule it out, but I think he's going to be a piece. They've got reps to be had at running back. We'll see what John Emery's future holds, assuming he comes back to the program. We'll see what Armani Goodwin is like health-wise when he comes back. Trey Holly's got a head start as a freshman. I think Jackson probably a little higher-rated prospect. Josh Williams is hurt as well. Got Kane. I think Jackson will warrant some carries. So that's impressive speed at that size. It's a nice get for LSU, and hopefully he is a big piece for the offense.
All right, LSU women's basketball put up billboards in Dallas and Waco promoting the team's trip to the Final Four. Take it or leave it.
Oh, man. I'll take it. Look,
I'll take
it. Waco is 2 hours from Dallas. I don't think there's a lot of LSU fans staying in Waco. I think there's a reason there are some signs in Waco. And
there was a school there, right?
There is a school there. There's a little history there. Seems a little petty, but you know what? To the winner go the spoils, and LSU is winning, and that's quite a statement to put billboards up. And this is not something we made up. LSU's basketball's Twitter account put this up. There are signs in Dallas, which I figured they would. In Waco, hello.
I love it. All right, Arthur Blank, owner of the Falcons, says that his organization is not interested in Lamar Jackson because they don't believe he can stay healthy playing his style. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think that's reasonable. He has gotten hurt the last 2 seasons. He does play a style that would lend itself to getting a little bit more hurt than, say, Tom Brady or Drew Brees. And that's a reasonable take. I think it would have been wise for the Falcons to get into that sweepstakes because I think in a division that's wide open to add an MVP caliber quarterback makes a lot of sense. But if your organization's thought process is, look, this guy runs too much and gets hurt and we don't want to deal with that on the back half of his career, we didn't get any of the MVP stuff, I can't disagree with them on that. So I'll go ahead and take it.
All right, Ole Miss and Southern Miss called off their game in the 4th inning last night with the Eagles up 2-1 due to field condition at the minor league park in Pearl, Mississippi. The Rebels got lucky again. Take it or leave it.
I guess I'll kind of take it. Of course, you remember a couple of weeks ago, Ole Miss was losing a midweek game to Louisiana Tech. Tech scored. They were winning a game, then Tech scored to take the lead, and then the rains came, and so they had pulled them off, and Ole Miss got a win, and they were actually losing the baseball game. Last night they were losing a baseball game because there was fresh sod on the field in Pearl, Mississippi. They had to call it because of field conditions. It goes down as a no contest. Yeah, I guess it is a little bit fortunate. Certainly Ole Miss had plenty of time to score 1 run against Southern Miss's midweek pitching, but they were losing, and another game got called, so I guess it is a little bit fortunate.
All right, last one here. Sam Burns got his 5th victory in the PGA Tour at the Dell Technologies match play.
Yep.
I know it was a few days ago, but take it or leave it. Sam Burns gets a major victory before his career is over.
Oh, I'll take that. He's got every single aspect of the game that you could and would want to have. It's never a guarantee. You know, Lee Westwood never got one, and he was phenomenal for all these years. Ricky Fowler was a top 10 player in the world for a long time and never got one, and now is kind of on his way back. It's hard to win one, but Sam can hit it a mile. He's a great iron player. He's got all the chipping and putting you would need. He's won big tournaments like the match play. He's never really been right there in a major, so that's the one thing kind of missing from the equation, but he certainly played in serious pressure in the President's Cup last year. So he's got everything you need, and I think he'll get there one day or another. But he is playing a lot better over the last month. He usually does kick it up in these early year tournaments in Florida. Bermuda Burns over there on that Florida-Bermuda usually plays well. Got a win over in Austin this week. So big shout out to Sam Burns. Big shout out to David Toms from the 318. And some more LSU golf, as 3 of the ladies from the LSU golf team are playing in the Augusta National Women's Amateur this week over in Augusta. 2 days at a different course in Augusta. If they qualify in the top 30 and ties, they'll get to play at Augusta National this weekend, which we're certainly hoping that they do. All right, that'll do it here for a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, anywhere you catch our stuff, you can find it archived each and every day online. We started things off with LSU Grambling reaction, gave you some thoughts on LSU Pro Day. It was a What If Wednesday. Brock Cantrell talking about Roger Cador Day out there at BRCC this weekend. Pels Warriors, specifically Draymond talk at the top of hour number 2. My Major League Baseball predictions and Chris Demui. Tomorrow, our show from Red Stick Sports, Sidewalk Sale. Plus, we'll be at Rally Cat Brewery from 3:30 to 5:30. Very much looking forward to that. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming up tonight, 6 to 8. Mattson back in the saddle, driving you home next on After Further Review. See you tomorrow.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. and backed by the one-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place